in terms of my education struggle. Like, it was tough for me to ask for help, but like being around certain coaches and certain teachers that understood where I come from and knew how to talk to me motivated me to want to do better, because those people were staying after school to help me. So every day I'll push myself. I'll get a ride with my high school coach, come in early, either it's in Coach Allen's room or Romine's room. Those people will stay after and tutor me before and after school. And so that, it teaches me a lot of core value, because one, it teaches me to be disciplined. It teaches me to be passionate. It teaches me, like, closed mouth don't get fed. If you want help with something, you gotta be able to ask for it. And it taught me, like, not to be shy. And as I became a girl, it made me more open for asking for help, because it's not an easy thing to ask for help in America. You know, people look at you funny, but oh, why is he asking for help? He doesn't understand this. But at the end of the day, if you want to be successful in life, you gotta ask for help. In my culture, it takes a village to raise a single child. Not one person could raise a child. We believe in hard work. Our parents tell us from day one, as we grow up, you have to work hard to be able to be successful in society. So, you know, with that driven, I say that led me to getting a 4-year scholarship at a 4-year university. It didn't just happen overnight. I had to go to a community college, but I still took those values I learned from KM based on those teachers that are willing to help me. You know, not every teacher can understand you, but those teachers that take the time to understand the student can really change their life, because they're motivating them to do better, because they know they believe in you, and they just made me to want to do better. So I went to a 4-year university. I'm currently in school and still trying to pursue.
That's powerful right there. What did or does respect from an adult in school look like in your eyes? Can you share an account of how that respect was demonstrated, and did it occur often? Quincy?
An adult in school, I guess just showing the compassion to and the love and care that most kids need, especially in the school system, and not just talking to them as just a student, but talking to them as a person who, you know, because most kids who are in high school, they either gone through a lot, they're still learning, they're in a weird stage in life, so it's really important to be completely honest and open with them, and just to talk to them as a normal thing. And I think I really appreciated, I know we're not using names, so I really appreciated you know, one of the staff members who was my football coach, right? And I knew him previously before that, we had a relationship before that, but he pushed me in a different way where he respected me as a human being, as a young man, and he spoke to me as that, and not just like this kid that's on this team, right? Or he talked, it wasn't just me, it was, you know, Manny, it was the hundreds of other kids that played under him. And then I also saw that with some of our other staff members as well, that they would talk to students, like they would get to know students, and they stayed in contact with certain students. And like to this day, there's a few teachers that I'm still in contact with, and I love them for that, you know? And so that was the best thing for me. And I was always very grateful that I had that relationship with certain staff members, that I could just be myself with them. And then there was on the flip side that were the other staff members who I was just another student to them. And I knew you know that like right away, because just how they talk to you or how they speak to you, and then they never really, like if you're having an off day, if you have a relationship with somebody, you can tell, right? But the teachers who just treated you like another student, you just kind of pass by, and then you could be completely off, and that could throw off everything. Like you'd have a test that day, you're having a bad day, and that would throw off the whole test. You know what I mean? But yeah, so I was very grateful with the certain staff members I did have that good relationship with, because it pushed me to be a better person.
For me, I feel like it was a blessing for me, because there's certain staff members at KM that really took the time to understand me. I mean, in my high school days, I was kind of I feel like I had anger management. Like I get mad if things aren't going my way. And then I'm a person I'm really emotional when things aren't going my way. So I boil down, I start to cry. I try to keep everything in, but Coach Allen, for example, really knows me. He knows where I come from. And he understands me because like my parents work hard every day. They don't have the time they just don't have the time and energy to discipline me because they're so tired from work. And so when somebody sees I'm doing something wrong or I need help, I'm lacking in a certain area, Coach Allen will clearly sit me aside, try to talk to me, see what's going on, how am I feeling, and come up with a plan to see how I could figure out that situation. Goes for another colleague that worked with Coach Allen. He was my coach, Romine, my wrestling coach. And there's certain teachers, administrators like Miss Moss, those teachers took the time to check up on me. Even when I left out of high school, I'm still in contact with those people. It's because they understood I wasn't just somebody coming to school for them to just do their job and get paid. They understood I'm a human being, and they have kids, and they want their kids, they can go back, the way they talk to me, they can go back at their kids and look at their kids, and if they see their kids acting up, man, let me talk to my kids and give this advice. What would I tell my kid? I would tell the same thing to Manny. Let me treat Manny as one of mine. So it's just, look at everybody as a human being. Every human being has an emotional part to them. They're going through something. Life may not be going well. Things are hard for them. But if you truly understand the human being in that person, they'll forever be grateful. You can't replace somebody that cares about you and want to help you, taking their time to help you. Time is a very valuable thing, and somebody like Coach Allen, Romine, Owen, Moss, Tabitha Brownie helps you, man. I'm forever grateful in their hand because I am the person I am today because they took time out their life to help benefit me. For nothing, they're not getting nothing out of this. Not every teacher does this. I think it's a valuable lesson most teachers learn. Try to understand the student that's in your classroom because you may be coming from a hard life, a broken home. Nothing's ever easy in life. So pass it on to you.
Describe the equity in which the enforcement of school-wide policies, rules, and regulations by the adults at CAM. Carter?
Prejudice.
Say bias.
I agree, biased.
Would you please describe an instance when an adult at CAM reinforced stereotypes or negative assumptions, whether about you or your background? And then we briefly heard some of those instances. Did it happen a lot? Was it a common occurrence? Quincy?
Yeah, I guess, especially with staff members who weren't very familiar with me or knew people who supported me. They definitely had a lot of assumptions about who I was as a person and then my intellect as well. And then I guess they would question it, and it was very disrespectful of them to do that. And then, so I faced that a lot. And then also, I guess it would be more of the newer admin, I guess in my senior year. Yeah, the newer admin my senior year. I didn't really have a relationship with a couple of them. And the way that they would approach you in the hallways or anything like that, or a lot of time I was, leaving class a lot of time my senior year because I would have to meet with a coach from a university or anything like that, and so they'd question like, well, where you're going, or what are you going to do, what are you doing, or like, do you have a path? And I understand there's certain times you have to ask that, but a lot of the time it was mainly to try to like micromanage you, to like make sure like, I wasn't this black kid I was misbehaving or walking around, roaming the hallways, and then there was that, or there was the, a lot of the times it was, some teachers acting like, I talked about this before, some teachers acting like I wouldn't be able to be in class. I was only in class for an image instead of like that I could actually learn. That was actually good. And so that was tough too. So that happened a few times. And so it wasn't like a very dramatic. There's only a couple dramatic experiences, but most of it was a lot of like implicit bias or little microaggressions. Like, most of it was microaggressions. Like, you'd hear it like daily and then kind of question it. And then, certain classes where teachers would say something to you or be like, "Oh, Quincy, do you understand what that means?" Like, yeah, yes, I understand what that means. Like, being in a Spanish class, like a teacher she didn't know my background until my mom had to come up to the school, right? And she had a question like if I understood anything in class, and my mom speaks Spanish, right? So I heard it at home, and so, but she didn't know. The teacher didn't know that, and then she would say things to me, but she was very rude and she was very disrespectful. So I was kind of like, I'm not really, gonna give you my all because you already think I'm stupid, right? So she made it very challenging for me, and then so it wasn't until my mom had to step in and say something for the teacher to kind of like back off and understand. But yeah, that was my experience.
I mean, for me, I was a shy kid in high school. I didn't talk a lot, and sometimes I'd walk out. So I feel like some teachers have the stereotype that I was a dummy. I didn't really pay attention. I didn't want to learn what they were talking about. But I feel like some teachers stepped in and just said, "Hey, this kid that really doesn't understand what you're talking about. If you take the time to break it down to him, he'll really give you your full attention and be engaged into the situation you're talking about." So I feel like and there's a couple of times that I've gotten mad and walked off, and teachers would think I'm an angry black kid, which is that's not the case. I'm just walking away from the situation so I can calm down. And I have certain coaches and teachers step in and let them know like he's still working on trying to control his emotions, because I'm an emotional person it's been with me ever since I've grown up. Like when something bad's happening and I react, I just try to walk away, try to find a calming area, and I've learned how to control it. So some teachers will think, "Oh, he's just an angry black young man," and that's not the case. Until I've had teachers step in and broke it down to certain teachers, this is the way they operates, and he's still trying to better himself, so just give him a chance to try to understand where he's coming from. Pass it on.
I know we have a virtual talking piece, but may I? Thank you. Do you think that would have been possible without the advocacy of those teachers?
No. I feel like it won't, because they're hearing it from somebody that understands me, and they're hearing it from somebody that took the time to know me and know what I'm going through. They're just seeing the perception of me. And I feel like that's really bad, because once you have an encounter with somebody, a person of color, and it doesn't go well, that's going to forever be in your head once you meet another student of color. "Oh, he acts like this. Oh, it's just another dummy kid with anger management." So you're labeling all people of color, every young black man that reacts like me. They're uneducated, they're unmotivated, they don't want to pay attention, they have anger management and stuff like that. So I feel like having a teacher to step in and break it down to them that that's not the case. You shouldn't be so quick to judge a book by its cover. It made a difference for me.
So these are, once again, if you want to do one-word associations, you can, but feel free to add phrases to it. If you could make a single suggestion, let's say, on Wednesdays, we have staff meetings, right? So pretend that you have the staff meeting all to yourselves and you have the entire staff in front of you. What suggestion would you give that staff in order to improve the experience of, not for you guys at this point, because you did it already, but for future siblings, for future generations.
Leave your biases at the door and don't clump up every single kid of color. Like not every black student is the same as the next black student. Not every Hispanic student is the same as the Hispanics. Not every indigenous family, not all of them have the same story. And I think that's very important for a lot of people to know. And then also that most parents of students care. Do not just assume that they don't care. And I think that's a lot of things that's very important, especially with brown students, or brown and black students, is that the assumption is that your parents don't care or you come from like a single parent working home or something, right? Like a lot of us, most people I know have two parents at home or somebody at home who is working hard, but they care and they want to know what's going on with their student. So it's very important for you to speak up or for you to reach out to families and make sure that they know you're supporting their student.
Specifically, when Black and Latino students interrupt and ask questions in class, understand that's a learning habit due to culture, not due to disrespect.
Thank you. Appreciate y'all sharing these things.